And here we are. Aquí estamos. Tuca Joe. Today is Saturday. It's a different day. I never do these live streams on Saturday. And this is a special broadcast. We're going to have a guest with us because we're going to be playing a game that was given to all attendees at the 6th BellotaCon in Badajoz, Spain. And that game is, let me see if I can remove this image. For some reason, I have that image on the screen. Let me get back here. That game is the Spanish Road, El Camino Español. And I have another image here, which
So can you hear me?
I have to add myself. Okay, here we are. We're added to the stream. So welcome, Daniel. It's great to see you here. And tell us, where are you right now?
So good night to you, Jose. Well, that's the time I'm in Spain. It's 10 p.m. So I'm in Sabadell, which is 20 kilometers from Barcelona.
Okay.
And that's something really nice to be here with you.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So we're going to be playing one of your games, and it was a game that was given at the BellotaCon, at the 6th BellotaCon, to all attendees. Can you talk to us about the game?
Yeah, the game is the Spanish Road. It was in Spanish. It was El Camino Español. This is a short game. It's not a postcard game. It's a bit more complex, but less complex than a Ziploc game. So people may think about 20, 30 minutes, 40 the first time. But it works about the Spanish Road, that it was moving in the Spanish veterans, the tercios, from Lombardy in the northern Italy to Flanders, what is currently Belgium. So it took.
Okay. Let me see, you just froze there.
1 month and riots, some small fights, and some fortifications that needed to be taken. So the challenge was great, and I tried to use that in the design, which had the art from Neil Johansson. That was amazing. And with so many people who's been helping in the playtest. So the game,
okay, let me see if we can.
Was a Spanish edition. But Jose, you know that we're working in an English edition, but for now we cannot say much more about it. But it's coming.
Okay, it's great. Francisco, this T-shirt is not war game related. Okay, we got Francisco Javier Ruiz Gomez also. He was my right-hand man at the BellotaCon. Let me see if I can focus, if I can shoot, grab the picture here. We have, for some reason, that image there. I can't get rid of it for some reason. I'm going to have to do something. Just 1 second here. Let me see here if I can do something. Okay. Okay, now we have it. So now we have here so that you can see this is the game. The game is in a folder that was given to the attendees of the 6 Bellotacon, and we open the folder and you would see the map, and it has you would have to cut out the counters that are here. You have the instructions on the folder, but it's like you say, it's not your typical folder or postcard game. It's much more involved. And what we have done is we have mounted the counters on wood. And just to give people an idea, here are, for example, the armies. You see them there. You see these are the enemy armies that we will be encountering. And in this game, we take the role of the Spanish. And this is during the 30 Years' War. Is that correct?
Exactly. It's from 1567 till 1634. What's the timeline frame for the game? However, it's until 48. It took the war.
Okay. And you have a choice of commanders in this game. You got Spínola, the Duque de Alba, and Fernando, who's Cardenal Infante. And before we continue, these commanders are also going to be present in the game that you are working for, NAC War Games, which is El Colapso, the collapse. Is that correct?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So I have here
the Spanish Road. I mean, this game is based on the collapse. That is my upcoming. Exactly. That's my upcoming game with NAC War Games. What people can reserve right now, and it covers is a strategic war game about the whole 30 Years' War from 1618 to 1648. So
okay. So that's
people can register. There is no cost. There is no bank credit or card request, but it gives a nice discount. And as soon as you register, so it gives more opportunity for me to publish the game. So I would appreciate if people would join on.
Okay, so this is a 30 Years War game, which is card driven, which you are working on, and it is to be published by NAC War Games. And if you're interested, you can go to NAC War Games page. There's their web page, and you can join in the P500. They have a P500 program. Okay, but in this particular game that we're talking about, the Spanish Road, you command a Spanish army, and there's 3 commanders to choose from. And these are the 3 commanders that you see there, Spínola, Alba, and Fernando. Now, can you tell us what is the object of the game in here in the Spanish Road?
People start thinking that the Lombardy is not really the starting point of marching the territories. They came from the Spanish peninsula. They moved them into Italy. The veterans that they were already in the fortresses in Naples, in Sicily, they moved to Lombardy. And those veterans, those were the ones that moved from Lombardy across the Spanish Road, crossing Savoia, the French county, Lorraine, Alsace, until Flanders. So the objective is to show that they can reach from Lombardy to Flanders from the end. So if you don't reach Flanders, you lose the game. There are other ways that you can lose a game, but you can only win if you reach Flanders. And depending on the victory points that you have gained throughout the game, they will tell you how good or bad was your victory. What sometimes it's a bit funny.
Okay. So we are commanding the Spanish army that has been sent from Spain, but it starts here in Lombardy, and we have to march it all the way to Flanders, and there's going to be a lot of dangers associated, not only enemy armies, right? There's also, we're crossing the Alps at certain points, and that's represented in the game by those yellow paths that you see there. And so if we take a path that is across the Alps, we have to roll for attrition. And of course, our army may get weakened. So that's one way in which our army can lose strength. And the name of the game is the Spanish Road. So what does what does that mean in this game? Because I know we construct also parts of the Spanish road in order to achieve victory. And here is one of those markers that we place on the map. What is the Spanish road actually?
Yeah. The Spanish road was a route that it was starting from Lombardy, and it started after the French was defeated by the Spanish in 1559. So the Savoy Duke, it was Emmanuel Filiberto, was the first one who agreed to let the Spanish move across Lombardy. But it really started with the Duke of Alba in 1567, when he wanted to march across to crush the rebellion from the United Provinces in the north, with Flanders was the main front of the battle. So it went from Lombardy across the Savoy, that is in the south of Italy, in the southern part. It marched to the French county, which it was secure because it was a Spanish territory. And then there was two main routes to reach Flanders. It was Lorraine or Alsace. But during the 30 Years' War, there was some intervention from the French, who supported the non-allies from Spain. What it means, like at certain point, the Spanish road was blocked. It was blocked Lorraine, it was blocked Savoy, so the Spanish needed to find an alternative route. And that was the Valtellina Pass across the Swiss Confederation. And that was the route that, for example, took the Cardinal Infante Ferdinand in 1634, when he marched from Lombardy to Flanders across Germany, and he fight the famous Battle of Nordlingen. So the game, what depicts is the Spanish route, the traditional route that players can take, but they can also think about moving across the Alps to Tyrol, which it was part of Habsburg's patrimony land, and continue to Flanders. So there's no one route. There is 2-3 possibilities that players may need to choose.
Okay, so in order to win, there's various ways of winning, but we have to reach Flanders. Tenemos que llegar a Flanders para ganar, y vamos a jugar el juego. We're going to play the game, pero let's set up the game first. Vamos a montar el juego primero. And the first thing we're going to do is to select who's going to be our commander, and each of the commanders has different attributes. You see there, you see the name of the commander. If we take a closer look at Spinola, you see that he has one dot, and that dot is a modifier that you apply in combat. You add one die to the number of dice that you roll, but then you see a number one in a tower silhouette, and that is the number of dice that you add if you are attacking a fortification. Entonces, we see here, for example, that the Duke of Alba has a better rating when he's fighting an enemy army, because then he gets a bonus of +2 compared to +1 for Spinola. And we see Fernando, which has the same ratings as Spinola, but he has a 1 in a black circle. And that's what I think you call in the game tercio momentum. And just to show the people what tercio momentum is, we have here the marker for momentum. If you are playing with Spinola or the Duke de Alba, we start the game, you have a momentum, a tercio momentum of 3. But if it's Fernando, who is the commander, that's what that 1 in a black circle means. So we would have a tercio momentum of 4. And the momentum is a reroll option that you have in the game. So you can reroll dice for various circumstances, but it's a finite number. If Spinola or the Duke of Alba are commanding the army, you have 3 rerolls in the whole game. If it's Fernando, it's going to be 4. So depending on who our commander is, we're going to set up the tercio momentum. So let's start by rolling 1d6. Let's leave it to chance. Vamos a dejarlo la suerte, a ver quién va a ser el comandante, to see who is going to be our commander. So let's say 1 or 2 Spínola, 3 to 4 Duque de Alba, and 5 or 6 is going to be Fernando. Así que 1, 2 Spínola, 3 y 4 el Duque de Alba, 5 y 6 Fernando. So let's roll 1d6. Lanzamos un dado. 4. So it's going to be the Duke of Alba. So we place his counter here in Lombardy. Ponemos su ficha en Lombardía. And what that means is that he's the commander of the Spanish army. And that's the Spanish army in Lombardy, right? So we're starting. We have our Duke of Alba is the commander. So that means that as to tercio momentum, we are going to have 3. And now we have to choose the difficulty of play in the game. And you designed the game with 3 difficulty levels. Can you explain to us what this means? And I'm showing here the track.
Exactly. So there are 3 different modes. Usually what it's recommended is the first time that you select it's fácil, it's easy, medium. Difícil is complicated. What it means is like you have so many turns to reach Flanders or you lose. So there's a certain point in the game that you check which turn it is.
Okay, so that is the number of turns that we have to reach Flanders. So let's do a medium. So we'll place this turn marker here. And in this game, you count the turns backwards. So when we finish with a turn, we'll move the marker towards this direction, towards 0. And if it reaches 0 and we're not in Flanders, we lose the game. Now, we have a couple of questions here. Let's see here. Does Spínola have an advantage somewhere else? Because he seems kind of weak. Well, yeah, I think he's the weakest of the leaders, at least in this game. And there's another question: if this is cooperative, this is a solitaire game. This is we against the AI, which is going to be the enemy armies that are going to appear and try to prevent us from reaching Flanders. Okay, so we chose the difficulty. There's also markers for victory points. So let's take a look at how victory points are earned in this game. And we have here a victory point schedule. And you see there how victory points are earned. And so for each level of army strength at the end of the game, you get 2 victory points. And at the beginning of the game, the strength of the Spanish army is kept track of here in this track, and we start at 7. That's going to be our strength. And that's going to be the number of dice that we roll in battle, and assaulting fortification is going to be equal to wherever this marker is. So we got 2 points for each level of strength there. The other victory point source is for each Spanish road marker on the map at the end of the game. And the Spanish road markers are these that you see here. And these markers, to place them on the map, it's not automatic. We have to roll, and we have to first defeat any army in a space. And if there's an enemy fortification, we have to besiege it or defeat its fortification, and then roll to see if we can place one of these markers there. So you get 2 points for that. And if there are 3 Spanish row markers placed in a row, you get a bonus of +2. If there's 4 or more in a row, +5. Now, for each battle won, we score 1 victory point. So that's one area that we have to keep track of while we're playing the game. The other ones we can assess at the end of the game. And then for each enemy army that is still on the map at the end of the game, we lose 2 points. And we lose 4 points for each coalition army that is in the map at the end of the game. And you're going to see 5 armies that are going to be placed on the map at the beginning of the game. But whenever 2 of these armies join in a space, in a region, we substitute them by a more powerful coalition army, and the number of dots there is the number of dice that they roll against us. So coalition army rolls 7 dice. But you see the armies that appear at the beginning of the game, the Protestant armies roll 6 dice. Then you have the Swiss army rolls 5. And the weakest is the Italian army that rolls 4. Okay, so let's go ahead and see where these armies are placed. And for that, what we do is we roll on this table. There's going to be one of those areas that is going to be empty, and then we place the other armies, the other 5 armies, which we place face down and mix. We place them randomly in the spaces that are not the empty space that we're going to choose now. So we're going to roll 1d6 and see which one of those spaces is going to be empty at the beginning of the game. And the roll is a 1, so Alsace is going to be empty. So what we do now is we take each one of these armies, we place them face down, we mix them, and we place them in the spaces that are in that table except Alsace. So we have to place one in Baden, we place one in Lorraine, we place one in Württemberg, we place one in the Lower Palatinate, and we place one in Savoy. And Savoy is down here, right next to our army. So now what we do is we flip all those armies face up, and we'll see what the starting situation is. So what I like, Daniel, here is that every time the game's going to be set up differently, so you're never going to have the same units in the same spaces all the time. Okay, so here we go. So here we see, for example, we see that right next to our army, we have a Protestant army. So that's sometimes, in many occasions, this space starts empty, which is, I think, makes it easier for us to just go through Savoy and not have to risk going through the Alps. But this time we have a Protestant army there to worry about. So that is the situation with the deployment. I think we're ready to start. So let's take a look at the sequence of play. So we have a diplomacy phase, and this applies only on turns 2 to 6. So we're in turn 1. We don't apply it now, but the diplomacy phase has to do with the situation in Burgundy, and it basically in this game in the Franche-Comté region. Let's show the viewers where that is, and here you see it. Franco Condado, Franche-Comté. So from turn 2 onwards, desde el turno número 2 en adelante, tenemos que ver qué pasa ahí. There can be a revolt which will block our movement and will destroy any Spanish road marker that we build there. So those are the dangers associated with going through this route. If you want to travel through that route, through Franco Condado, you got to watch out. But in turn 1, we don't have to roll there. So roll on that table yet. After that particular phase, then we have an event phase, and that we have in every turn. We have to roll on an event table. Then we conduct operations. That means that we have 2 operations usually per turn. We can move, fight, build the Spanish road, try to bring reinforcements. Then the enemy moves, enemy movement. And the enemy moves in this way. In this game, it's a solitaire game. We choose which of the enemies moves in a particular order. So let's say we choose that the Italians are going to be moving. So what we do is we roll 1d6. And just to give an example, let's say, this is not going to count, but just to give an example, a 4 is rolled, and you see that the 4 to 6 result makes this unit move to Alsace. So we would move that unit there. So movement is going to be determined by a die. So we never know where those armies are going to move. But if by any chance, let's say one army moves onto the space of another army, then we substitute both by a coalition army, which is a stronger army. And those, of course, are tougher to defeat. So that's how these coalition armies enter into play. And then after the enemy moves, we do a victory check. And of course, at the beginning, we're not going to win the game in the first turn. So then we would go back to the diplomacy phase. Okay. So let's start out. And we will start with the first applicable phase, which is the event phase, because the Burgundy phase doesn't occur in the first turn. So let's go to the events. So Daniel, here, there's 3 events that are good for us and 3 that are bad. And we see them there. The bad ones are in red. The good ones are in blue. So let's see which event do we get. So let's roll 1d6. And the roll is a 5, revolt in the Holy Roman Empire. We roll 1 die for each Protestant enemy army or coalition army in the Lower Palatinate, Württemberg, and Baden. And we reduce our army strength by 1 for each 6 rolled. So there are coalition armies in all those spaces. So let's see here. It is, you see them there. There's 3 armies, and so there's 1 in each of those spaces. So we would roll 3 dice, and on a roll of, on a roll of 6, our strength goes down by 1. And remember that our strength
6
is 7, starts at 7. So here we go. We roll 3d6. And okay, we're good. Nothing. Okay, so we dodged that bullet. So that was the random event. The next phase now is conduct operations. We have 2 operations per turn. Okay, so Daniel, what do you think? We have that Protestant army right next in Savoy. Savoy is, it's a pretty good army. We would have to defeat that army and then defeat the fortification in order to construct the Spanish road there. So, and we can chance and try to go through the Swiss Confederation, as you see there. So what do you think is the best strategy there for the Spanish?
So that is the option to move.
To move where? Through the Alps?
The important is that there was no event that reduced strength of the Spanish army. So if you want to fight, if you're more aggressive, yeah, I would think so. For the Alps, because there is the army, so the risk to reduce the strength of the army too soon is not the best, probably.
Yeah. So let's move through the Alps then. So we have 2 operations. So the first one would be movement. And so what we do is we're going to move here along this trail. And we have to roll for attrition. And there's also a logistical die roll, but that doesn't apply because we're not moving from an area that has this symbol here. You see the symbol next to the tower castle. If we're moving from an area which has this symbol and a number, we also have to do a logistical die roll because we're moving through enemy territory. And the logistical die roll has the possibility of canceling the whole move and we lose that operation. But we're moving from Lombardy, which is a safe haven for us, so we only have to roll for attrition. Let's take a look at the attrition roll table. Here we have it. Okay, so there's a chance of reducing our army by 1 or 2, and we add the value indicated with the plus sign in the yellow Alps route, and that is a +1. Okay, so and if things don't go as we plan, we can use also momentum to re-roll an attrition die roll. Is that correct?
The Spanish momentum is an average thing that people can use to reduce the hit in a battle, but also if they don't like the die roll, I mean, in attrition.
Okay, so that's a consideration. We may use the momentum, but you don't want to burn the momentum so early in the game, I suppose. So let's go. Let's roll 1d6 let me see. Let me zoom in a little bit more. It's the attrition roll. Okay, so we're gonna probably lose 1 point of strength. So here we go, 1d6. And oh, that's nasty. We lose a strength of 2 points. So that means that our strength goes now from 7 to 5, but we are in the Swiss Confederation space here, and we have one more operation, and we could try to take the fortress, but we are at 5, or we could try to get reinforcements, which is another operation that we have. Let's see how that one looks like. Spanish reinforcements. We would have to roll 3 or more. There's a -1 for each region between the Spanish army and Lombardy, including Lombardy. So that's -1. And there's no road markers on the map yet. Let's see. So here, if we want to build part of the Spanish road, we would have to defeat the fortification that is there. And there's 2 ways of doing it. One is attacking it, in which case we have the strength of the Spanish army, which is currently 5 plus the 1 that is in the castle silhouette. We would roll 6 dice, and that fortification would roll back double the amount of dice indicated in the tower icon. That would be 4. That is, if we want to attack it, and if we want to place a Spanish road marker, which we eventually would. So we can, here the decision is, do we want to try to get reinforcements, or do we want to keep on pushing with what we have? So let's, let me see. We can always try to get reinforcements in the next turn. So let's see, let's try to attack that fortification. So we roll a total of 6 dice, 5 for our strength plus 1 for the Alba's rating. So hits in this game are 1 hit for each pair of 5s and 6s, and you can combine 5s and 6s. So let's roll, we roll 6 dice. And let's see how many pairs of 5s and 6s. We got 2 5s, and it's incredible that a digital application can't roll a die and it stays. You see that die there? It's between a 3 and a 5. Okay, in any event, if it would have been a 5, we still wouldn't get an extra hit. So we get 1 hit on the fortification, and now the fortification fires, and it rolls 4 dice. Here we go. And the fortification doesn't score a single hit. So we beat the fortification because we have more hits. So we have dealt with the fortification. So the Swiss Confederation space is under our control. And that's our second operation. So we can't do any more operations in the rest of the turn. Now we would go to the next phase, which is enemy movement. And we have to roll a die for each enemy on the map and see where they go. And so let's start rolling for. And sometimes I think, Daniel, sometimes the order in which you roll is important because you don't want these armies to join together and become stronger. So let's roll for that army in Savoy
Sometimes
first.
it's better to move and then react.
Yeah. So let's see where that army in Savoy is going to move. We roll 1d6. You see that it's on a 1 through 5, it will go to the Franco Condado, and only on a 6, it will move to where we are. So here we go. I like our chances there that it won't join us. So that is a 2. So that army moves to Franco Condado. And now let's move the army at Württemberg. Those are the Swiss. Let's roll 1d6. And the roll is a 4. So they move to Baden. So that means that this army here joins with the Protestant army at Baden. So we remove both of them and we place a coalition army at Baden. And now we don't roll for the coalition army now because it was just formed. So we have to still roll for 2 other armies. Let's roll for the army in the Lower Palatinate, see where it moves. And it's a 1. So it moves to Alsace. And now let's roll for the army in Lorraine. See where that moves. Oh, and it joins with the Protestant army at Alsace. So there is a second coalition army, and that's the maximum. There's in the game, there's 2 coalition armies. So we got 2 coalition armies to worry about, and the other army at Franco Condado. So that was enemy movement. And now a victory check. There's no victory, so we would now advance the turn marker. And as stated before, it advances to the next lower box. So we have 11 turns to reach Flanders. So now this is the second turn. Now we do go to the Burgundy diplomacy phase. We have to roll on the Burgundy loyalty table. So let's take a look at the table and see what can happen. Okay, so here we have, what does this Burgundy loyalty table represent, Daniel, in the game?
Burgundy was the birth area of the Habsburgs, which we may refer to Charles I of 5 of Germany. So Burgundy was the French county. What is the French comté? Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we see here the possible results are that an enemy army appears in French comté.
Reflects a chance that they may revolt as they were not pleased with all the march across the territory.
Okay, so and then you can have a revolt. In which case, if a revolt happens by any chance, we place this revolt marker there. And that means that that area is blocked. And if there would have been any Spanish road markers there, it would have been removed. So it's not looks like Burgundy is a even less friendly area than the others around. So let's see what happens. We're going to roll 1d6. Hopefully a 1 to 3 will be nice. So here we go, and it's a 5. An enemy army appears in Franche-Comté. So we have these enemy armies here. So we have to mix them, see which one appears in Franche-Comté. So we pick this one. And, but we have, I don't think an enemy army is going to appear because there is already an enemy army there. So that's one of the exceptions when you have both coalition armies already on the map, this would form another coalition army, and there's a maximum of 2, so that is ignored. Am I correct there?
Correctly.
Yes, we wouldn't have an enemy army because that would join this one, and you can have a maximum only of 1 army, and there's both coalition armies are already on the map. There's not a third coalition army to form, so that's basically a no effect there. Okay, so now we go to the
situation reflects there is already an army.
There's already an army there. Okay, so now we go to the event table. See what a random event for this turn is? And it's a 6. Reinforcements arrive. Good. So that means that our strength now goes from 5 to 6. Okay, that's good. It's good that we got that there without burning any actions, because you can do a reinforcement operation. So now we move on to conduct operations. We have 2 operations. Now we are eligible to build a Spanish road there at the Swiss Confederation, but as I stated before, it's not automatic. It's not automatic. Let's take a look at the Spanish road table. That here it is. It's the route to Flanders. We need 3 or more, but look at that. There's a -2 die roll in the Swiss Confederation, of all places, and not very friendly to us. So basically, we would have to roll a 6 or a 5 in order for the attempt to succeed. But I think it's worth a shot. What do you think?
It's good, and you can repeat the same operation twice if you want to, or you can think about using the momentum of the tercio as an alternative.
I think it's. I mean, we're there. There's no enemy army. We don't want to wait till the enemy armies get there. So yeah, let's take our first operation, and we have 2 operations. So let's go for it. Okay, so here we go. We need 3, a modified 3 or more, and there's a -2. So we roll 1d6. That's a -1. So okay, we have 1 more operation, and if we fail, we may try to burn one momentum there, so we don't burn momentum now. So let's go to our second operation. We'll roll the die again. We're trying to build a Spanish road there. This time it's a 3. Okay, so that's a fail. Let's spend 1 of our momentum points. So now, instead of 3, we have 2. So here we go. Let's roll again. Third is the charm. So here we go. Roll 1d6. Oh, come on. 4 minus 2, 2. So we failed. I'm not going to burn another momentum because I'm sure we're going to need it. So that is the end of our operations. And now we go to enemy movement. So let's see how these enemies, where do they move now? Let's roll for this Protestant army in French Comté. So we roll 1d6, and it moves to the north, actually. It's going to move. It would move to Lorraine. So moves to the north. That's good, out of our way. He doesn't want any beef with us. And now we're going to move the combined armies. Let's move the Baden army first. And the roll is a 3. So it moves to Württemberg. And now we're going to move the Alsace army. And that is a 5. So it moves to Baden. So they're not approaching us. So we still got more time to get that Swiss Confederation space with a Spanish a road marker there. So that is the enemy movement. Victory check. There's no victory. So now we have 10 turns left. And now we go to the Burgundy loyalty table because this is actually the third turn of the game. So we still have to roll for situation in Burgundy. So let's roll 1d6 here, see what happens. And the roll is a 4. An enemy army appears in French Comté. So now French Comté is empty, so we have to pick an enemy army from these ones here. And we pick this one and place it in French Comté. And let's see who's that. And it is the Italians, which is the weakest army of all. Oh, I mean, it's the, if an army is going to appear there, better be that one. We can't complain. So now we go to the event table. Okay, so let's see what event do we get. We roll 1d6. And it's a 5, and a 5 is revolt in the Holy Roman Empire. We roll 1 die for each Protestant enemy army or coalition army in the Lower Palatinate, Württemberg, and Baden. There's none in the Lower Palatinate, but there's 1 army each in Baden and Württemberg. And for each 6, we reduce our strength by 1. So we roll 2d6. And we are fortunate again. No strength reduction. So can't complain there either. Could have been a lot worse. So now we conduct operations. So here we see the situation. Should be able to roll a 5 or a 6. That Swiss Confederation space, we're already here. So let's give it another shot. Daniel, let's try to see if we can put a road marker there, because we're going to need those road markers when we go deeper into deeper north. So we will roll 1d6 on the route to Flanders table. Here it is. And we need 3 or more, but there's a -2 for the Swiss Confederation space. So here we go. And the roll is a 4 - 1, 3. And here we have to choose whether we go again, which I'm inclined to do. So let me see. Let me focus here. For some reason, it doesn't want to focus. There you go. There you go. Focus there. Okay. Second action operation. We're going to roll again. 5 or 6. Come on. Here we go. Ah, there you go. At last, we got a 6. So we place a Spanish road marker in the Swiss Confederation space. That's good because that gives us a positive modifier when we want to build another Spanish road marker. And it makes everything easier, bringing reinforcements and other things like that. But we have some enemies nearby, so we just finished conducting operations, and now the enemy's got to move. Let's see what the Italians do first. So let's roll 1d6. And the Italians roll a 5. They move up north also. Let me see if they can. They can't move up north, actually, because there's already an army here, and both coalition armies are on the map. So the Italians just stay in place. So now let's see what the coalition army in Württemberg is going to do. So let's roll 1d6. And that is a 5. It's supposed to move to Baden, but it cannot move to Baden either because there's another coalition army there. And you can't have even 2 coalition armies in the same space, so it also stays put. So now let's see what the coalition army in Baden does. And this time it's a 3. So it's supposed to move to Württemberg, but again, not joined. So these coalition armies are there just paralyzed, fortunately. And we have to roll for the army Protestant army in Lorraine. See what it does. The roll is a 5, so it moves to Alsace. That's all the enemy army movement. That turn, and now 9 turns to go. We better start moving, Daniel. So, let's see. We're at the Swiss.
So you're a bit more conservative.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't lost enough games. I got to lose some more. Okay. So, so we have the.
But I said that the game is simple, but it has enough challenges. So people.
Oh yeah, we have there's a significant number of armies in the way, so eventually we'll have to fight them. So let's go to the Burgundy loyalty table. That's our first phase here. So we roll 1d6, and the roll is a 1, no effect. Right, that's good. And now we go to the event table. See if we get a positive event for a change. There we go, and it's again, revolt in the Holy Roman Empire. We roll 1 die. Reach Protestant enemy army, Lower Palatinate, Württemberg, and Baden. We see here that there's armies in Baden and Württemberg. So we roll 2d6 on rolls of 6s. We lose a strength point. And okay, good. We've been able to dodge a lot of those die rolls, so can't complain there. So now we conduct operations. Okay, I think we should. I don't know. Going through the Franco Condado is kind of dangerous, but we have the weak Italians there. In Württemberg, the good thing about Württemberg is there's no enemy fortification, but we have the coalition army there. But we have a good army, Daniel. I mean, the Spanish army is pretty good.
You have a good army, and also by taking the longest route, you have more opportunities to build more routes. I mean, from the Spanish route. So,
Yeah.
So it's a good. But if you want to be more conservative, I would say go for the French country. But if not, take north to Württemberg.
Yeah, I think I like Württemberg because I don't have to fight any fortifications there. So I like but I have to go through the Alps anyway. So that's the first thing is the movement. So we're moving through the Alps here. And we have a logistical die roll to make also, right? Because we're moving from an unfriendly area here, and it has a logistical value of 1. So just to show how this works, because a logistical roll is, and we have to make both actually. So we'll do the attrition die roll first, then the logistical. So the worst that can happen is that we lose a strength in the attrition, and then because of a failed logistical roll, the move fails. Of course, we can use our momentum to re-roll, but it can be pretty bad, you know. So let's go with the attrition roll, and we add plus. It's a +1, so we hopefully we won't lose any strength, but we may lose a strength point, and 2 + 1 is 3. So we lose a strength of 1. So that means that our army strength now goes from 6 down to 5. And now we roll on the logistical roll table. So we need 3 or more. And it's a -1, 2, or 3, depending on the logistical value of the region from where the move originates. And you see the logistical value is this number here, this 1. So Swiss Confederation is a 1. So there's a -1 there. But there's a +1 for each Spanish road marker on the map. So that cancels that. So we need a 3 or more to succeed. So here we go, 3 or more. And we got it. We got the 3. So we enter Württemberg, and we have one action, and we have to fight. We have to use that operation to fight. It's a mandatory fight, right? We have to fight them. So we're going to have combat
So
now.
there is no fight until there is the return of the enemy.
But yeah, but we're on our second operation now. So we have to fight them, right?
Yes.
So we have
That's
to.
the first
so
operation
now
that
we
you
have a
must take.
fight. Yeah, because our first operation was the move, and now we have to fight. Okay, so we have a total strength of 5 for the army and 2 for the Duke of Alba. So we rolled 7 dice, and we need pairs of 5s and 6s. But the coalition army rolls also 7 dice, and ties are won by the enemy armies. So if we both score the same number of hits, we lose, unless, of course, we want to roll for momentum. But we have 2 momentums left. So here we go. We're going to roll, and combat is considered simultaneous. So we roll 7 dice. So here we go. We need 5s and 6s. And I see there, 3 5s. So that's 1 pair. So we score 1 hit. So now comes the coalition army. The coalition army rolls 7 dice also. We scored 1 hit, and they score no hits. That is no hits at all. So we beat the coalition army. So that means that the coalition army is eliminated. And that is 1 victory point. And because we defeated an army, so we score a victory point here in the track also by placing this victory point marker here, the 1. Okay. And we can't complain. Doing pretty well. Took that chance. We're at Württemberg. That's the end of the operations. But now the enemy armies move, and let's see where these enemy armies are going to move. So let's start with the Italians. Okay. So we roll 1d6 for the Italians, and the roll is a 1. So we're going to have a battle with the Italians pretty soon. So the Italians move. Oh, no, we don't have a battle. They move into the Swiss Confederation. We're not there. We're actually in Württemberg. Okay. Okay, let's see now. Got the camera now right. Okay. So that's the Swiss army that moved. Now we have the coalition army at Baden. 1d6, and it's a 1. So they're moving south. They're moving actually along the Alps to the Swiss Confederation, but the Italians are there. So you can't join a coalition army with anything else. So if that army in Baden would have been a regular army, then we would bring the coalition army that is outside of the map and join it. But because it's a coalition army cannot join with any other army. So that move is canceled. And now we have the Protestant army at Alsace. And it rolls a 6. So a 6 moves that army north to the Lower Palatinate. So we move it there. I think we moved all coalition or enemy armies. So that is the situation there. So that's the end of that turn. And now we have 8 turns to go. And this would be turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We still have to roll on the Burgundy table. Okay, there you go. So let's roll on the Burgundy table. 1d6. And it is a 2. No effect. It's good. Now we roll for an event. 1d6. 6 reinforcements arrive. Can't complain there either. So now our army is at 6. And now we have 2 operations. So Daniel, we have that coalition army in our way there. And we have the fortifications at Baden, and I think it's a good time to take that coalition army on. They would roll 7. We would roll a total of 8 dice, so we have a better chance at scoring hits than they do. So what do you think? Wait just a sec.
Point.
Can you repeat again? For some reason, okay, I didn't hear you.
No, because you get victory points also for winning battles and sieges, so it's also a good opportunity to beat them and just move across.
Okay, so let's do that then. So let's back here, and let's move then into Baden. And we're going to have a battle there with the Protestant army. And you can see that our strength, we got a strength of 6 plus 2 for Duca de Alba. That's 8 dice. And combat is simultaneous. We roll 8 dice first. And let's see how many pairs we got. I see 2 5s and 2 6s. That's, let me see, 1, 2, yes. That's 2 pairs. So we got 2 hits. And now the coalition army rolls 7 dice, and they need to match the number of hits. They need 2 hits to match ours. And oh man, they're lucky. They rolled 4 6s. So unless we try to go for 3 hits, burn a call it momentum. But how likely is just to get 3 hits? It's not very likely.
No, that's the luck, but that's a good opportunity to use a momentum, and that's why it's good. I mean, to leave some for the end.
Okay, but momentum, we re-roll our dice. We don't, or we don't re-roll the enemy's dice.
You have the chance to re-roll, and you have also the chance to add 1 more hit to the enemy or reduce 1 hit received.
Oh yeah, that's right. And I can add 1 hit to our score, right?
Or reduce them in the ones received, exactly. So,
but
by the overall, you will win.
Do I have to do that before I roll, or I can do it after I roll?
You can do it after. That's no problem.
Okay, so I'm going to burn that sucker. Yep. We're going to burn that momentum. Yeah, I forgot that. That's a good point. So we burn that momentum to score 1 more hit. And we have 1 momentum left. So that means that army is defeated. And we eliminate that army. But we only have 1 momentum left. But we're at Baden. We're almost there. We score a victory point because we won a battle. So that's victory point markers now.
You won
2.
I have to correct. You won 2 battles and 1 siege. So you have by now 3 victory points already.
I won a siege? Well, which siege? I don't. Oh, the one at
the one
the
that
Swiss
you won
Confederation.
in the
right?
Swiss Confederation.
I forgot to score that
and
siege.
2 battles.
Yeah. 2 battles and a siege, so we have 3 victory points. Okay, that's right. Okay, so good. So that was, I believe that was our first action, was that battle. So we still have 1 action to go, 1 operation.
Exactly.
So we can either try to go to the Lower Palatinate and score some more points, or try to go through the empty areas over here, Alsace, and defeat the forts the forts are easier to defeat than, or wait, we can do, no, we have to, we should defeat the fort at Baden to try to construct a Spanish road marker there, right? In the next turn?
Exactly.
Yeah, we haven't defeated the fortification at Baden, so let's.
Exactly. So you have to wait.
No, but this will be our second operation. Is it our second operation? I think it is.
Oh yeah, you have the second.
So let's go after the fortification.
Because the first one you did with the army, yes.
Yep. So let's attack the fortification. The fortification rolls a number of dice equal to double the fortification value. So they would roll 4 dice, but we would roll 6 for our. Oh wait, in that battle we lost 2 strength. Forgot to deduct that. Remember? In the battle that we won, they scored 2 hits. So I forgot to deduct that strength. So we're at 4 actually. Okay. So that's right. I forgot that when the enemy scores hits, we have to deduct them. So we're at 4. We would roll 6 dice, and the fortress would roll 4. So let's still go for it. So here we go. We roll 6 dice, 4 for the strength and 2 for. No, it's just we roll 5 dice. Alba has a 1 for sieges. So we roll 5 dice, and the fortress rolls 4. So here we go. 5 dice, and we score no hits. We have no pairs. Now the fortress rolls 4 dice and scores no hits, but that's an equal number of hits. That means that we do not win, so it stays as that. So that's our second operation, and we still haven't.
Or you have the alternative to leave, 2 armies just to besiege the Baden and then move, but that's very risky.
Yeah, because then our army would be very, very weak. So that's our second operation. So now we have to roll for the enemy armies. So start with the Italian army here, Swiss Confederation. And it rolls a 2, so that army is going to move north into Württemberg. Is that, wait, a 2? No, that army moves. Oh, actually moves south. I'm wrong. That army moves south. It rolled a 2. So it moves to Savoia. To Savoy here. So I think the Italians won't be bothering us. And now we have to roll for the only other army that is on the map, which is the one in the Lower Palatinate. And the roll is a 4. So it moves to Alsace. There you go. So those are the enemy operations. So we have now to move the marker down to 7. Now we're in turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Last turn of the Burgundy table. Let's see what happens there. So we roll 1d6 here. And we have a 6. Franche-Comté revolts. Place a revolt marker in the region. Movement through the region is blocked this turn. Remove any Spanish road marker. There's none there. We do not make any additional Burgundy loyalty checks for the rest of the game. Leave the revolt marker in the region as a reminder. There's no effect on subsequent turns. If we would have a Spanish army there, we can then choose to continue playing our turn or not, but that doesn't apply. So we place the revolt marker, which is this marker, place it here, Franche-Comté. So this is blocked. And luckily we didn't have any Spanish road markers there. So that is that particular result there in the Burgundy table. No more rolls there. Now we go to a random event. See if we get a good one. And we get bad weather in the Alps if the Spanish army is in the Swiss Confederation, which it is not, can only conduct one operation, and it costs 2 to enter this region this turn. But I don't think we have any plans of entering the Swiss Confederation for now. So that's not bad at all. So now we have our 2 operations, and we're very weak. And even trying to get reinforcements would be tough. Let me see. Could try to go through the lower Palat. Well, we haven't reduced fortifications at Baden yet, and our strength is 4 plus Duque de Alba 5. Let's see one thing about here, the reinforcements. Where is the roll here? Spanish
Because you can do reinforcements first and then attack the fortress.
Yeah. But what I don't like is the -1 per region between the Spanish army and Lombardy. That would be Swiss Confederation. That's, well, 1, 2. So that's a -2, but we have a +1 because of the Spanish road marker, yeah. So we would have basically a 50-50 chance of increasing our strength by 1. Got a 50-50 chance. I think we need to increase our strength if we want to continue forward. Because we're pretty weak there. So we could try to increase our strength and then try to eliminate that fortification. So let's try that. So let's go to the reinforcement table here. We see the reinforcement table. -1 per region between the Spanish army and Lombard. There's 2 regions, so that's -2. But we have a +1 because, oh no, we don't have a +1. We don't have 3 Spanish road markers on the map. So it's a -1, so it's a 50-50 chance. Okay, that's going to be our first action. So here we go. We need 3 or more. And that is 4 minus 2. It's 4 minus 2 because there's 2. That's 2. So it wasn't 50-50 actually. It was 33%. It's 4 minus 2 because we're 2 regions away from Lombardy, and Lombardy counts. So we failed there in getting reinforcements. We can give it another shot. I think it's worth it because we're really near Flanders, but we need to get more strength. So our second action will be again to try to get reinforcements. So we actually need 5 or less, 5 or 6, because it's a -2. Well, we need 5 or less, 5 or 6. Okay, so that failed also. So that was our turn. We're stuck in Baden there. Now we have the enemy armies moving. So now the Protestants move. And we have A5. So we're going to have a battle in the next turn. So they move into Baden. We have to move now the Italians, which are in Savoy. And it's a 2, so they move to Franco Condado. But Franco Condado is blocked.
But it was blocked only for 1 turn, from that turn, so you can move now.
Oh, this was oh yeah, that's right. That was the last turn. So the Italians go to Franco Condado here. Okay. Yeah, because I forgot to remove that mark. Okay. That's the only 2 armies on the map. So that's the end of army-enemy movement. And now we move the turn marker. And it goes down to 6. And now we don't have to roll any more on the Burgundy loyalty table. We roll on the event table. Let's see if we can roll a 6 and get a reinforcement somehow. So here we go. Ah, yes, we get a reinforcement. So that's a 6. So our army strength in the nick of time increases from 4 to 5. So now comes enemy operations, and because we're in the same space as an enemy army, our first operation is we have to battle it out. We don't have a choice. So we have a total strength here of 5 plus 2, 7. and the Protestant army has a strength of 6. So we need pairs of 5s and 6s. So we roll 7 dice. Here we go. And, oh, that's great. I see 1, 2, 3 pairs. So that's 3 hits. No way they're going to beat us this time. So now comes the Protestant army, rolls 6 dice. We scored 3 hits, and they score 1 hit. So we beat the Protestant army. So they are eliminated. And that's another army that is out. So that was our first action, and now we can try to reduce that fortification. And
you get 1 more point for the battle.
We have to score the victory point. That's right, I forgot. So now we go from 3 to 4 victory points. So now let's go against the fortification and see if we can reduce it. Yeah, we have a total of 5 for our strength plus 1 because of his fortification rating assault. So we roll 6 dice. So here we go. And we scored 3 6s, so that's 1 pair. 1 pair. So now the Baden fortifications fire back. They roll 4 dice. And they also score 1 pair. And because we don't have any armies between us and them, I think it's a good time to burn that last momentum. What do you think? And win this battle.
Yeah, it doesn't give you more points for the momentum at the end, so you must choose the moment to use them. And now it's a good one.
Yeah, I think it's a good one now. So we use our last momentum point to score 1 more hit against the fort. Well, not score, we can reduce the amount of hits the fortification inflicts on us. That way we don't have to reduce hits. So we win the battle by reducing the number of hits that they inflicted by 1. So instead of 1, they inflicted 0. So we have taken control of Baden. That's the end of our operations. Now we have enemy movement.
And you gain 1 point for the siege.
Now we gain 1 point for the siege. That's right. So victory points go to 5. And now it's enemy movement. And the only enemies that are left are the Italians are their only hope here. So we roll 1d6. That's what the Italians are going to do. And they roll a 2. So the Italians are moving to Lorraine. So they're keeping this interesting, actually, by moving into Lorraine. So now we have 2 operations. We should build a Spanish road marker there in Baden. So let's roll for that. That's going to be our first operation. So let's take a look at the table there, the route to Flanders. We're going for Baden here. There is no modification for Baden. On a 3 or more, we succeed. We don't have any more momentums. So here we go. We roll 1d6. And we score a 5. So yes, we place a Spanish road marker in Baden. So we got our second road marker there. It's not consecutive to the other one. But now we have our second action left, right? So second action let's move into Alsace. Yep, we could move into the Lower Palatinate and try to get into Flanders. But we would still have to, fight it out with the fortress. The fortifications, the same strength. Let's see. I think we're ahead of schedule.
Tyrol in Alsace is a bit tougher. But
Alsace is a bit tough. Yes, and you have we have the move here is not automatic. We have to roll for it. So let's move into the Lower Palatinate. We have to roll for we have to roll for, what do you call it, logistics. And the logistics is right here, the logistics roll. So a 3 or more and it is successful, but there's a -1 for the logistical value of Baden, which is 1. So there's a -1, but we have 2 Spanish road markers, so it's +2. So we have a net +1. So I like our chances. Here we go. Net +1, 4 + 1, 5. So we can move into the Lower Palatinate, and we do so. So that's our first action. Now we're going to fight it out against the fortification there. So we roll a total of 6 dice, and they also roll 6. Oh boy. And we have no more momentum. Okay, so okay, let's go for it. We roll 6 dice. And there is no pairs, so we score no pairs. And now they roll 6 dice. And this is going to hurt. Oh my goodness. 1, 2, 2 pairs. So they score 2 hits. So our strength goes down to 3. We have no more momentum. That's the end of our turn. And can we move outside of an area even though we don't control the fortress and just move into Flanders? Could we do that? Or do we have to take on the fortress? That's the question I have there. Okay, so that's the end of our turn. We have to roll for the Italians. So let's see what the Italians do. They roll a 6. They move into Alsace. Okay. That's the end of the turn. So now we're at the 5 box. Okay, and that's here we see the situation. We roll for on the event table. Okay, so we roll 1d6. And this time it's a 2. France interferes with the Spanish army. Apply a -1 die roll modifier to the logistics roll during a move operation if moving into Lorraine, Alsace, or Savoy. Lorraine, Alsace, or Savoy. We're currently at the Lower Palatinate. And I guess from the Lower Palatinate, we would go into Flanders. Okay. So that it's not going to affect us too much there. So you see, I think we lost Daniel. Let's see if I can add him to the stream. Okay. Can you hear me, Daniel? Okay, Daniel, can you hear me? I think he can't hear me. Daniel, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Do you hear me?
Oh, yes, I can hear you.
Yes,
So
I hear you.
that's the end of the turn. So now we go to our next turn. My question is, in our operation, do we have to assault the fortification, or could we just move into Flanders if we wanted to? Because we haven't defeated the fortification in the Lower Palatinate yet. I mean, we have 5 turns, but we are pretty weak here. We got strength of 4. The Lower Palatinate is going to roll. They're going to roll 6 dice, so it's going to be tough to beat them. We have no momentum. So my question is, are we obligated to attack, or can we just move to the next region, Flanders, and that's it? Can you hear me? Okay. 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 So let's go to the this turn now, and we have to roll for. I think did we roll for the? No. Now that we already rolled for the event. So see if we can defeat that fortress. Score more points, more victory points anyway. So let's see if we can defeat that fortress. We roll a total of 3 + 2, 5 dice. The fortress rolls 6, and we need pairs. So here we roll 5 dice, pairs of 5s and 6s. So here we go. And we get no pairs, so the fortress now rolls 6 dice and gets 1 pair. So that continues to weaken our army to 2. Boy, we have another operation. And I don't think we can defeat that fortress with what we have. And a reinforcement action right now is pretty hopeless because, let's see, a reinforcement action. See where see the table. There's -1 between the region and Lombardy. We have 1, 2, 3. So that would be -3, but we only get a +1 if there's 3 Spanish road markers and there's only 2. That would be a -3. And no, we would need 3 or more. We would have to roll a 6. So there's not a good chance of getting a reinforcement there. So Daniel, what should we do? Wait a second. Okay, now I hear you. What should we do? I had the microphone off. Sorry.
So there is no more momentum of the tercio, right?
No, yes, there's no more momentum. Are we obligated to attack the fortress, or can we just move out and go into Flanders and that's it?
If you move to Flanders, you have to leave 2. You have to reduce 2 strength of your army.
The army. That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's the siege. Yeah. I think it's better to do that before, because now the Italians even look formidable.
But Italians have 2 strength.
Yeah. Oh, I have 2 strength. Oh, yeah, right. I can't. That would destroy the army.
So what you can do is to retreat to Baden, or to get closer to have a reinforcement and then move back.
Yes, you're right. Yes. Yes.
That's why the momentum of the tercio is so important to know when to use it. Yeah.
Okay, so I could retreat to Baden. Okay, so basically, what these forts do, they're in the way of the path to Flanders, right? So.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
The best is to move back, so it's easier to get reinforcement and then move back again.
Yeah, so let's do that. Let's retreat to Baden. Now let's see from Baden what the situation is with the reinforcements.
You will get also the event of the turn, so you may have also a chance to get more reinforcements.
Yeah. I have 1, 2, so that would be a -1. The reinforcements, that would be a -1. Yeah, so let's do that. Our second action will be to roll on the. No, I think second action would be now. So we have a -1 because of the 2 regions between the Spanish army, which is, and Lombardy. So we have to roll a total of 3 or more with a -1 to get a strength points. So here we go. 5 minus 1, 4. So we get it, right? Oh, wait a second. I'm calculating it wrong. It's a -2, actually. It's Baden to Swiss Confederation is -1 because it's per space. So it's 5 minus 2, 3. We still get it. So we still get it, but it was close. Wow. So that means that our strength now goes up to 3. And that was our turn. And now it's the Italians' turn to move. Let's see what they're going to do. And it's a 4. So they move actually to Lorraine. Okay. So they move to Lorraine. And that's that turn there. We move now the marker, turn marker from the 5 to 4. 4 turns to go. And now we have to roll for a random event. And if we're really lucky, we may get another reinforcement. We need a 6 for that, so here we go. And we got it. Yes, 6. So our strength now goes from 3 to 4. And we have our 2 operations. Now, that strength of 4, if we go against the Lower Palatinate, they still roll 6. Maybe we should try to beef up and get more reinforcements, Daniel, because I don't think we still got 3 turns to go.
You should get more reinforcements because you have more time, but also that could be a good way when you move to the Lower Palatinate just to leave to strength
to leave
your
2.
army.
Yeah.
But you have sometimes, I mean, if you can manage.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot that. Yeah. I can leave 2 there. That's the beast. There's 2 types of ways you can deal fortifications. You can attack them like we've been doing, or we can leave a number of strength points equal to the value of the fortification. That would be 3. And those are what it represents is we left enough strength to besiege that fortress and then move on. We have 4, so we would leave. And now the downside of that is that we're going to score less victory points at the end of the game because our army is weaker. So let's try to give it a shot to reinforce our army. We got 2 operations to do that. So let's try to do that. Our army is currently 2 areas away from Lombardy, so that's -2. -2. And so that's, we need 3 or more. So we need to roll a 5 or 6. So we have our first die roll, our first operation, and it's another 6. So we increase the strength. We've been very lucky here. From 4 to 5. And now let's try to reinforce it again. So here we go. We need a 5 or 6. And this time we're not so lucky. So those are our 2 operations. And now come the Italians. They're going to move. And they roll a 6. So they move to Alsace. So now they're right next to us. And that's the end of this particular turn. Now we have 3 turns to go. I think it's time to make our move. But first we have the event phase to worry about. Let's see what we roll here. A 1, bad weather in the Alps. Well, that's not going to apply because our army is not in the Swiss Confederation and we're not even going to move in there. So now we have our 2 operations. First operation will be to move into the Lower Palatinate. And now we're we're gonna besiege the Lower Palatinate. So we would have to leave a strength of 3 there. So that means that our strength goes down to 2. So we've besieged the Lower Palatinate. And that is our second action because we moved and besieged. So that's the end of that turn, right? Of our turn. And now we see what the Italians are going to do. See if the Italians are going to make this more interesting or not. And they could if they roll a 6. Hopefully they won't. Oh, there you go. They roll a 1. So the Italians actually move to the Franco Condado. They don't want to fight us. So that's the end of that turn. Now there's 2 turns left, and we're not going to take any chances, but we have the random events. The random event can still screw us up. Here we go. Roll 1d6, and reinforcements arrived somehow. They got in, so our strength now increases from 2 to 3. And now we have our 2 actions. And well, our action is going to be to move from the Lower Palatinate into Flanders. So we've arrived at Flanders, right? That's it. Now we have to see what kind of victory we have.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's take a look at the victory points schedule. Okay, so here we go. We got 2 victory points for each level of Spanish Army strength at the end of the game. So we have 2 for each level. So we have 3, strength of 3, so that is 6. 6 victory points there. I'm gonna have something here, mark that here. 6 there. So the next is, where is it? Victory point schedule here. +2 for each Spanish road marker. We have 2 Spanish road markers, as you can see there. So we're at 8. 8 victory points so far. And now, +2 if there are 3, there's not 3 Spanish road markers, +5 if there would have been 4 or more, and they would have to be placed in a row, so they're not. +1 for each battle won. And we won a total of 5 battles there. So 8 + 5, 13. We're at 13. And a -2 for each enemy army still on the map. Well, the Italians are still on the map. So that takes it down to 13, to 11. It was at 13, now it's 11. And there's no coalition army. So that's an 11, a total of 11. So now we check the victory levels here to see how we did. And it's 6-14, a minor victory. Your soldiers have arrived barely in time to support the war effort against the United Provinces offensive, but is it enough? Due to your laziness and delay, the conflict is still unresolved. Well, okay, I see why you're saying that we were pretty conservative. You got to get in Flanders in a quicker time. So it's a minor victory. I mean, it could have been worse, could have not arrived, but that's one game of the Spanish Road. So Daniel, thanks for designing the game first and being here with us today. It's a game that has a lot of choices and a lot of possible outcomes. You're not going to be able to replay the same game all the time because the forces are going to start in different places. They're going to move to different places. There's a lot of die rolling for reinforcements, attrition. So, I think it offers a lot of interesting situations. And And yeah, it's going to be a challenge really to conduct a major victory there, because you got to arrive in force, and you have to win battles on the way. So
Yeah.
so that's
And I would
the
like to say that
Spanish road.
yeah, the people, they know me as designer and probably Niels Johansson as the graphic designer, but there is also so many people has been helping me, from Sierra Rojo, the
Fierro, yes.
organizers from BellotaCon, some playtesters. So there is a teamwork there, and it has been very intense. But the opportunity to give this game for free to everyone coming to the BellotaCon is a good chance. And as we said, there may be an English version of the game, but we cannot say nothing more by now. But the
Okay.
files of the Spanish edition will be available this month, so people can go to BGG, they can check it, they can download it for free. And of course, if they like this game, I encourage them to reserve the Collapse, which is free to reserve.
Yes, no, it's an interesting approach, and of course, it's a game that it's an introductory level game, war game. So it's what it does very well. I like it. It provides a lot of decision making and difficult choices and surprising outcomes. Also, you have revolts steering up behind your army. You have armies appearing. And all this while your army is losing strength, and you have to take a pause and try to get reinforcements. And that minor victory, I mean, we were very, very lucky. I mean, in a normal game, as to luck, I don't think maybe we wouldn't even arrive at Flanders. So, Daniel, I want to thank you for being with us today. And we have also here, we have Alan Salazar like the game. We have here Wolf Sulfate. He can't wait to play the game. We got Steve O here. I know New York Raider fan is somewhere around there also. Let's see, we got some people still hanging around. So thanks everybody for showing up. And it was a pleasure for me, Daniel. And we'll keep in touch to see how the game develops. And hopefully it will be available in English. And if so, and when that happens, we'll be happy to announce it. Okay?
Exactly. And I would like to say, like, if people, they know the graphic designer for the Collapse is Donald Haggerty, so people, they know him very well. So he's a very top one.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, he's working on the Collapse. So that's again, the Collapse is in the P500 for NAC War Games. You can enroll there and for the Collapse. And so I'm gonna say goodbye for now. And Daniel, just stick around after the intro. We'll talk a little bit more. But to all of our viewers, thank you for tuning in. And as I always say, this is Stuka Joe signing off for now. Thanks for watching, guys.